All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there. It is after Halloween, but we're here to talk about something that was scary. Maybe not for the reasons that you normally would expect it to be, but we're here, we're excited. There's new Marvel, and today's episode is Agatha All Along.
Agatha All Along, I was super excited to see this character because, I think she pretty much stole the show for WandaVision, right? I think that was very highly regarded for Catherine Hahn's performance. What did you think about that in
I
WandaVision?
think I think Catherine Hahn's been rocking it for well before WandaVision. All right. Catherine Hahn is amazing and has been in so many deep cut, underrated movies or like side roles that she's just absolutely destroyed. It's about time that she gets to helm her own series, right? I mean, do you remember the movie The Goods with
Oh
Jeremy
yeah, I
Piven?
was I was one of the few people that really liked that movie.
Yeah, no, I have it on like DVD, and she is amazing in that. And then of course, just a showstopper in Step Brothers.
Stay Golden, Pony Boy. Probably my favorite scene out of that entire movie. I just laughed so hard when she just
Uh,
lifts her leg up at the
just
urinal
to
and
be in
just
the urinal. The physical comedy, the yelling, the everything. It's amazing.
And she does have a lot of versatility. So that was one of the things that I was really looking forward to is okay, you have a show that's focusing on Catherine Hahn's character, Agatha, who stole the show in WandaVision, and what kind of crazy shit are we gonna see? And I thought, like for my expectations, I was going into this show thinking this is going to be great. We're going to see another dynamic of Marvel. We're going to see a stepped up level of humor from Catherine Hahn along with Aubrey Plaza, who joined the cast.
Ooh, yes.
I was super excited, man. Super excited. But I did not watch the show week to week. I decided to kind of like wait a little while, binge, and finish it up. But what about you? How did you watch this?
I binged the first 6 episodes, and I kind of watched it. I did watch it week to week after that. It was only like 3 other times that it came out. So yeah, no, I binged I started watching it in one night expecting to like consume an episode here and there during the run, and it hooked me for the first six. Like I kept going after you got past the first episode. It was pretty. It at least was formulaically strong enough to keep me pushing play.
Okay. So as we were going through this, kind of talking about, if we wanted to watch this, we kind of said like, yeah, we have to. This is a Marvel show. This is on brand for the podcast, and overall excitedness for this. I mean, were you as high on it as I was going into it, or were you just kind of like, well, let's wait and see what happens?
I've been waiting to see with Marvel for a minute. I didn't know what they were going to do with Agatha in general. It's not a character that I'm readily familiar with from the Marvel universe. I wasn't like, oh yeah, no, totally. She was an X-Man or something like that, right? I think they've covered a lot of the characters that I'm aware of through the other movies, and now as you get to the ancillary characters, like right? Like even Loki, if it wasn't like this really deep and layered kind of figure it out, where is it going kind of thing, um, I don't know that I would have loved it. Like Tom Hiddleston's great, just like Catherine Hahn's great, but like it needs to be its own thing with a great actor as opposed to trying to bend it into the Marvel characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. So
What
we
about
were
you?
we're usually on the opposite sides of the spectrum on a lot of things going into it. So that's pretty spot on. Like I said, I was pretty high on this and I was really excited to watch it, but I decided to like hold back because I wanted to be able to binge everything. So maybe that is a strategy that didn't necessarily pay off, or maybe it did. Well, I guess we'll find out at the end of this
Only
episode.
time will
But
tell.
let's go right into it. But first, I think the audience wants to know your version of the plot.
Hypnotized witch breaks the spell and sings a song that takes her to her death. Spoilers?
Oh, yeah, by the way, if you ever watch or listen to this show, just remember it is heavily spoiler filled. It doesn't,
Spoilerific, y'all.
yeah, I mean, we don't even put the disclaimers anymore because if you haven't figured it out by now, what are you doing with your lives? But yeah, so
And
I don't disagree with that synopsis.
yeah,
You're,
this show definitely took some turns and circles and round we go. I think that was there. Did you keep up as we went through every episode? Like, did it make sense to you? Did it all bridge for you?
that's a very good question because after the seventh or no, after the eighth episode, halfway through the eighth episode, things really started to come together for me. So yeah, I was completely lost. Like, what the fuck is the point of this show? Like I said, I was super excited, and there were some high points and some highlights of their performances and everything, but I was lost. I was lost in the grocery store, and I never saw my mother again in this movie. So for any of those people that watch Top Secret, that's totally a Top Secret reference. But yeah, I couldn't understand what was going on. What about you?
Um, I got it through the first six. I was feeling okay. I think the first five I watched in a row. And then I think it was episode six where they did the Billy Maximoff episode. Like that broke the we finished a trial, we go to another trial, somebody dies, we move forward. Like when they had five episodes of them moving the plot forward. And then just like Disney does sometimes, they stretched it a little too long and they needed a mag episode, if you will. Right? So that was the mag episode for me. And then it picked back up. Feel like there was some things that could have been chopped and this could have been one less episode across the board. But you know, I always say I love backstory and I love context. So I guess I can't complain that much, but all the same, there was a mega episode in there. But other than that, it flowed okay. I thought the two episode finale was a little lost, if you will. Not like I couldn't follow it, but it was like the show lost. Um, huh?
That's another TV show that I never got into, and everyone said it was awesome. But
It's so
yeah,
good until it's not.
yeah.
If
Uh,
that makes any sense. Like,
oh, it does because that seems like a lot of the content that we've been watching over the past year for movies or TV. Just the way that they set up the seasons, or the season, I should say. The episodes were okay, but some of them probably could have just they could have been like Mandalorian length, like 27, 28 minutes, good. That's all we need.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need them to sing that fucking song
Oh, that
every
song's a
episode.
jam.
That is some
You
bullshit.
weren't humming that shit afterwards?
Get
Down the road.
I don't know, man. I don't want to say anything too mean, but uh song structure is real, and that song does not have the proper structure to to entertain me. It's not like an A type of format. It's A all the way through, and it's just uh, it completely upset me by episode. I think it was like episode four. Like, we're still singing this shit? Like, why the fuck are we still singing this? This is awful. It's annoying. It's not even a great song. And sure, I appreciate people that can sing and the arrangement that they did it to where the harmonizing was really good. But at the same time, like, I don't give a fuck about the Witch's Road. I
Oh,
don't give a
dude.
fuck about these people that are singing the song.
But the rock
So,
version of it? Like, come on.
yeah, man, it's
Come on.
That's like saying, like, oh man, have you heard the new dubstep version of the chicken dance? That shit smacks. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is awful. So,
This is
uh,
by far not the chicken dance.
I'm gonna go out of order and just say, Martha the fuck out of me.
Oh
I was
no.
so irritated, and I'm just like,
I
there's
was
so many
jamming this song
times.
down, down, down the road.
Yeah, you keep jamming. You keep jamming. So I'll stay over here on this side of the road and you enjoy. But yeah, that was not my favorite. But I mean, there are some bright spots. Like the cast and the interaction among the cast is pretty good. Pretty good. I might even say great because you have some really good performances and you have some almost grounding type of a dialogue back and forth between the characters to, no one really gets too high on their high horse. Someone usually will make a wisecrack and bring them down a few pegs, which is great, and I think that's needed, especially for an over the top performance like Catherine Hahn does for this, along with Joe Locke playing Billy Maximoff. There was a few times where it was like, okay, yep, this person is, they're not universally loved, so let's bring them down a peg. They're not Captain America or Thor. They're Agatha Harkness and supposedly Billy Maximoff.
The Maximoff thing definitely like why?
Well, I'll tell
Why?
you why. I'll tell you why. You
Tell
want to
me
hear
why.
why?
Tell me why.
I would listen to that over that Witches Road song any day. Um, so there's a little movie. I don't know. You may have seen it. That did this, dare I say, better with no explanation. And this movie had the explanation of how it swapped bodies, but X-Men, or I'm sorry, yeah, X-Men Days of Future Past or the end credits of the Wolverine, Professor X comes back after he's been disintegrated. Looks exactly the same, and there you go. Dare I say that the Fox X-Men universe did a body swap better because it went back to the original body. No one knows how. It's never explained, except that Professor Xavier has some tricks up his sleeve. That was explained and done better than this was, for sure. Like, just dying, passing off your soul to a body that just happens to die around the same time is just some bullshit to me.
It's a
Just say it. Fox X-Men did it better. Say it.
I don't even remember Fox X-Men doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it was so bad and it's still better than this.
Like I need to understand why we need Billy Maximoff at all. Like I don't understand why. So I thought that the trial thing would bring us, Agatha then in the unit, right? Like something there. And they definitely gave it a little twist by, killing her, letting her self-sacrifice and turn into daisies, literally pushing up the daisies. Um, and then they made her, they basically made which Quantum Leap now would be season two of this, if there is one, as Billy Maximoff jumps from body to body trying to find his brother. Like that's is essentially what they did. You talk about the Fox X-Men doing it, fucking Quantum Leap did that shit well before Fox X-Men, and they even had the invisible friend that told you all the things and could do a little magic. Like it's so I didn't get the ending at all, and I think that there was quality through it. Like I dug the way they brought the coven together and the mismatch of the witches. Like the journey was far better than the destination for me. So can we backtrack a little and talk the journey? Because Billy
if we had,
Maximoff derails the entire fucking thing.
I mean, if we have to, sure. Go
If
for it.
we have to. Um,
Oh,
so
Marvel, I've been such a fan and I've loved every show. She-Hulk. Oh
I couldn't
God.
finish She-Hulk, dude.
It was
Couldn't
it was
finish.
so much
Oh,
better than this, but yeah.
oh. Did Billy Maximoff give you Beetlejuice vibes at the beginning of this?
No, no. What he did give off was, you know that one guy on the internet that has just like a really long neck and he's like super skinny?
No,
Like, so there's
I don't watch
I
internet
guess
giraffes.
I'll have to. That's essentially what he is. Like, he has a neck that is so long and like it kind of like hangs over. Like, I'm sure he won't have a really great life as he gets into his older years. From an anatomy perspective, that's got to be painful for something as you get older. But that's what he reminded me of. I was like, why does this kid look like this? And he's not like an ugly kid. He just reminded me of that giraffe neck guy. So that's all. That's all I have to say. That's,
Oh, Daddy Longneck.
there you go. Yeah, that's him, Daddy Longneck. Maybe I'll
Daddy,
post up a here. We'll post up a picture right there. There we go.
yeah, Daddy Longneck is an interesting that I've never seen this person before, but
So
that is
just
a hell of a drug.
by me saying that, does that make you think like, oh yeah, I could see that?
I mean, no, not at all. Not at all. But I think it's funny. I think it's funny. Um,
Good, good.
but yeah, I don't know. I love the way it started, right? Agatha is completely out of it still and thinks that she's a detective. Like it's friggin' Law and Order. So that was fun. And then the way they called back to it later and just showed that it was her talking to no one and just having a mental episode in her own house. That was fucking hilarious. I loved that. That was really good.
So, did you like the fact that the whole town was in on it too?
Um, I mean, they had to, when they came out of it, in the end of WandaVision, it seemed like everybody knew what was going on, like that they had been
Yeah,
held captive.
yeah.
Like they knew. So seeing that they all just kind of kept her at arm's length, I didn't mind that at all. Like, oh, she's crazy. Because
Really?
did the town know that she was a witch, or did the town just think that she was extra special touched by Wanda?
I don't know if they knew she was a witch. I can't remember. I would assume that they did because her and Wanda had that battle. But either way, they don't. I mean, you as a viewer, if you watched WandaVision and you knew that these townspeople were super upset with what Wanda did and it scarred them for life, this is
But they
something
stayed there.
where, yeah, they stayed there, and also, yeah, Agatha's under some spell. We're just gonna go ahead and play along. Like, who the fuck does that? That doesn't make any sense. Are they afraid that Wanda's gonna come back and just like say like, all right, double fuck all of you? Because that I can understand,
I
but
mean,
there's no context or reason why they should think that she will come back. And if they are in a town with this person that's still under a spell, they're going to either try to get the person out of it or they're going to leave town thinking like, oh yeah, because the spell is intact for her, Wanda's definitely coming back. So we need to bail before we're caught in this Westview prison once again.
interest rates are really high, man. Selling your house is difficult in these times, so you've got to give these people some space. How long was it since WandaVision?
3 years.
It was COVID. Maybe they were just locking down.
You're going to stay in your house for 3 years while you know someone's under a witch's spell and you just have to play along with them.
That really depends on your these people weren't able to really earn money. They were earning 1950s wages. They had no wealth to be able to uproot. They're trying to rebuild their lives.
I think you're trying to make something that's not really the case. Like
What?
1950s wages, what are you talking about?
Isn't that when WandaVision took place for most of it?
No, no. They progressively went through each decade.
Yeah, but they didn't earn a real wage until At least the 90s.
All right, I get what you're trying to do, but that makes no sense whatsoever. That
Well,
makes zero sense.
I'm sure that the
They're
listeners get it.
these people are still living. They're living their lives while Agatha is stuck in this spell. That's the bottom line, and everyone's
Yeah.
just cool with it. Get the fuck out
Maybe
of here. That's
maybe the
ridiculous.
government didn't let him leave. Maybe it's a conspiracy. Maybe it's Shield's fault.
I'm just saying. So it is ridiculous that they're staying in the same town with Agatha, knowing that she's under a spell, right? I mean that is super ridiculous.
I don't know that they know she's under a spell. I just think that they think that she's crazy.
I don't know about that.
I'd have
They
to
all knew
rewatch
what
the first
Wanda.
episodes.
No, because she came out of it, and then the neighbors were talking to her like, "Yeah, we kind of don't say her name anymore." Like they know what's going on, and then all of a sudden Agatha wakes up, and then it's like, "Oh, okay."
I mean,
So that's
he who should not be named is not a new thing. The people in Harry Potter didn't move out of Hogwarts because of Voldemort.
but it's fucking stupid that these people were imprisoned and then they decided to stay while a spell is cast upon someone and they know it. Like
And while the dead kid was
silly.
walking around, and Billy
That
Maxim, apparently Billy was dead and then back.
yeah, I mean that's okay, I guess, because it's someone you don't even know and they're not even from Westview. So that's at least I'll give a pass on that. I think the premise of it is it's creative, don't get me wrong. I don't knock the writers or anything for trying, but that is some next level comic book shit, like where you have a character jump into another body. It's like one of those one-off issues where it's like, oh, Thor got turned into a frog, so I guess he's stuck in this body now. It's like, oh Jesus. Like it's a silly premise and silly logistics for that perspective, at least in my opinion. So, and I'm the Marvel fan. I've liked everything that they've come out with, even the in quotes bad stuff. I still enjoy more than other bad stuff that's out there. But this one was tough. I mean, that the witches themselves, I like their performances, and that's probably a small redeeming factor for the Coven, but it is completely pointless.
Well,
I
no, because so first of all, the Coven gave us a lot of background on the witchiness, right? They established the different kinds of witches, the different kinds of spells. They for some reason needed to kill Deborah Jo Ruff because she was a powerful witch at some point. Um,
No, she
that
was just there. She was just there.
I thought she was a witch at some point. I thought she was like
No,
Agatha's homie.
no, she's a neighbor, a nosy
Well,
neighbor.
they had to kill her. I love that they got the legacy witch, the daughter of the witch songwriter, in there who had some powers. And
Which that also doesn't make sense because they didn't write the song. Agatha did.
I mean, people record songs that have been passed on a lot, right?
Sure,
Like,
sure, sure.
you know, that's
But I'm
that
just saying,
like
like,
saying Metallica didn't write Turn the Page. Duh, but they recorded it.
yeah,
They didn't
I
write
don't know.
Whiskey
Yeah.
in the Jar either. Still recorded it. I didn't mind that. I loved Aubrey Plaza in this. Aubrey Plaza should be a villain in everything because she's awesome at it. And uh, Patty Lupon, whatever, is awesome.
She was good. I liked her performance probably the most out of
Her
everybody.
episode was my one of my favorites.
It was confusing, but in a good way, to where it's like, wait a second, why? I had to rewatch it because I was like, I think I got this, but I'm not 100% sure. So I kind of like the whole almost Christopher Nolan-esque type of mystery around it, to where it's like
But
all out of sequence, and you're kind of going back and like, okay, do they do that now and then, or I'm still kind of confused as to how she experiences life out of order. That's a
but the
super interesting
structure of the
concept.
episode is meant to be an explanation of her power, of her experience, the jumping. and the popping around and not understanding the order with which she has intaked life, um, and why she's kind of twitchy in that way. I thought that episode was amazingly written. So there is some quality in the show that in and of itself and the mechanics of the storyline just create this like rich viewer experience that gives you like, oh, this is what she's really dealing with. This is why she's been like Tourette'sy the entire show. She's not. It's just her fucking mind is in this blender. I thought that that was really cool. Candidly, like I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. The Jennifer Kale story to me,
I wish I could tell you what that was, but I don't remember it.
that she didn't have
So,
powers because it turned out Agatha was the one that put a block on her powers at some point, and then at the end she just kind of gets out and is now has her powers and is a roaming witch somewhere. Like they just let her out, and they're like, "I will come back to her later, maybe, or maybe not, or maybe they'll just cancel this show."
yeah. Yeah. I So Aubrey Plaza, I totally agree with you. I don't think I've watched something with her in it that I did not like. So that was
Truth.
like a nice positive for this. But I'm having a hard time finding any of the characters likable. So yes, you got Agatha as kind of a smartass, and you like Aubrey Plaza if you're an Aubrey Plaza fan, but the characters themselves, with the exception of Patty, Lupin's character, Lilia, I think that's the only likable character. But even then, it's not because of the character herself. It's just because of her performance. I
Yeah.
don't know, um, Billy Maximoff, not likable.
No.
I don't think he's likable at all. Relatable, sure, but likable is a different story. Uh, maybe maybe Alice was likable, just because she had, some cool points and highlights in the story, but everyone had their own highlights somewhere.
Hmm.
But
Except
yeah,
for Deborah
it's
Jo Rupp. Except for her, just killed her for
well,
done.
you like her because she is who she is. She plays the same character all the time, kind of just that happy, clueless type of person. So yeah, that's fine. But I also thought that it was a little bit confusing when it came down to like, okay, before you knew that the Witch's Road was fake, that it didn't exist until Billy made it, I was thinking like, well, obviously there's something that's amiss here because if you're trying to get a witch for everything, there's no freaking way that she's gonna even be a marginal pass for a witch. It's just not gonna happen. And then you find out later on, like, oh, the reason why the door opened, they were able to go on to the witch's road is because Billy just made it up out of his fucking head.
Yeah, Billy was
So,
Ray in this situation.
yeah, there you
Billy was
go.
Ray.
What about Evan Peters coming back as Ralph Boner? Did you like that?
I mean, it was cool. Again, that whole episode was just kind of for me. Um,
I
I mean,
did
I
like
like it. What?
like I liked that they did the callback, and homage to his scene as Quicksilver in X-Men Days of Future Past by putting that song in at the end credits.
Hmm. I agree. Again, they give you the Easter eggs. They give you some cool stuff. Um, but the whole Billy Maximoff thing, I don't know where it's going, and I don't care. Like,
So supposedly it's going to lead to him finding his brother and then them eventually starting up a Young Avengers team. But at this point, I just don't care. I don't care about Billy and Tommy.
no, not at all. Like, no offense to Ashley or to the Olsen, but um, I didn't really care that much about the Scarlet Witch.
Really?
Yeah.
She's like one of the most loved characters out of the entire MCU. People love her. I still enjoy her as a character. I think that it was kind of ridiculous the way that she went out in Multiverse of Madness. But yeah,
There are a
that's
lot of ridiculous things in the multiverse of madness.
you.
Thank you, Sam Raimi, for that.
Sam Raimi, rumored to be coming back for another Marvel project, and I am just not giving a shit about Sam Raimi. So either way, it's just kind of like a interesting time in my Marvel fandom life. You know, like do I've stayed true since the beginning, but this last thing for Agatha just really threw me off, and it's tough to get excited about those characters because at face value, is there anyone on this cast list, or even character list that you're like, oh, I love that character?
Um,
I want to take that as a no, just because it's such a
yeah,
long.
not, not specifically. Like and that's not to say that I don't enjoy the actors, right? Because Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, Patty LuPone, like I enjoy them as actors. But this is better than She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel,
Hmm.
right? Better than that, but
Why do you say better?
because I think that just the cast and the story was better.
Okay.
Like it
The
just
cast, I can agree.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't finish. Um, Nothing grabbed me about She-Hulk after like the third episode, or Ms. Marvel at all.
Did you finish Miss Marvel?
No, I didn't finish either one because I was just like, ugh. It didn't get there. It wasn't. I don't know if it was just written for kids or what, and I'm not into it in the right headspace or whatever. I could just be a crotchety old man in that regard. Like I fully accept that label, if you will. But um, yeah, I just was not. I didn't get there with it. I didn't get there with it. It's not like maybe I'll go back and finish it at some point, but I don't think it's imperative to the Marvel mythos at all, especially She-Hulk, since they wouldn't even put her in Wolverine and Deadpool. They're like, no, no, you're done. And then she got all pissed at Marvel, so they're not bringing her. They'll recast the shit out of that Green Lady.
That's
Re
too bad. That's too bad because I really like her, and I thought her performance as She-Hulk was great. I
and
thought the
she
humor
was
was good.
good, but the story didn't like it. I was
Yeah, the story was kind of shit, but like this story, I think is next level upper decker. Like
see,
this
I
is
the
disrespectful. You shit in my toilet tank by
see
letting me watch
for
this.
me, the first 5 episodes had great structure of story and led you enough into the next where you wanted to keep seeing what was happening. For me, the writing and the structure of the episodes just resonated well with good TV for me, so I kept watching it. Then we got the Billy Maximoff episode, which is standard Disney when it comes to TV series, because even The Mandalorian had like a Boba Fett episode or some shit, right? Like it was just, which is hilarious to say. But like there was always that random steamer in there, right? There's the Meg episode. But the episodes after really came back and hit, I thought. The episode where Patty dies was so strong. The Death's Hand in Mine, that was really good. And then the the last 2 episodes, put them back in peril. They had to figure it out. Agatha had to make some choices, and then they did the reveals and things like that, which was interesting enough. Um, but the way they ended it just didn't get me there. And the whole thing about her son, I don't know why I needed to know that.
I would have been fine if that was the first episode. Like,
Yes.
let's go back and figure it all out. But I knowing what happens, like knowing that Billy's the one who created the road, then I can understand as to why they put that for the last episode. I totally get it. Um, So that's where, it wasn't
And
until like the last two, 1.5 episodes that I was just like, oh, this is interesting. This is stuff that makes me think and be interested about what's going to happen. So I think almost I would have maybe preferred a little bit of Tarantino structure of it to where it's like you show a little bit of some of the clips with her and her son, and
mhm,
then it cuts out to something else. And so you're always kind of guessing like, well, what happened to the son? What's going on? So I think I would have appreciated that a little bit more because I feel like overall structure was sound, but at the same time, because I don't care for these characters, I don't know who they are. I'm not super invested in anything for any one of them, other than kind of rooting for Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn just because I like them.
mhm.
Don't care about anything else, and it's tough to be committed to watching a show if none of the characters are likable for you and you don't know much of the backstory if because it is based on like comic book lore and everything. It's a tough obstacle, and if you're a new person getting into Marvel, I would be shocked if you were like, yeah, I think I really like this Marvel Cinematic Universe thing. I think I'll go back and watch everything. Like, no, it's you're not getting any new fans with this.
I think that to your point, if they would have structured the episodes a little differently, I would have liked it more. If I would have known more about the Aubrey Plaza relationship there and that she was death, like it would have been more interesting and she would have been more ominous as a presence, right? Not just like a badass witch who was trying to kill her. Like, no, she was actually Lady Death. And then the thing that rubbed me wrong about her being, Death or Lady Death or whatever, right, is they had the opposite relationship of Thanos and Lady Death, where Lady Death is pursuing Agatha and Agatha's like rejecting her. It's just this weird thing. Um, I don't mind the holding the Billy Maximoff part to the end that he influenced the thing, and I don't mind holding the fact that Agatha used the song to lure witches to their death until the end either, because I loved that twist. I was like, oh shit, that's cold hearted. I love it. That twist got me, and again, it at least gave me like a positive feel from a story perspective. But to your point, like I don't care about Billy Maximoff enough to like be sold into this like, oh, let's go find Tommy. Bring your ghost witch with you. Like, why? And if they're
I
ghost witches, where's Wanda?
Who knows? Supposedly she's dead. Supposedly she's not dead.
Well, Billy's got a
Whatever it
blue
is.
crown, so now he's the Violet Witch. Or the trying to think of a blue that's
Almost like a
Scarlet.
Wiccan, right? Like a
Mm. Hang on one second. Shades of dark blue. He's the he could be the it's funny, right? He's not the Navy witch, but his head thing was blue, right? So tell me which one of these work for you better for Billy Maximoff as the uh, shade of blue witch. He could be the indigo witch, the cobalt witch, the cerulean witch, the berry witch, the azure witch, or the one I think you're really gonna like, the peacock witch.
peacock, peacock witch. Um,
Which one? Or the sapphire witch? That's one. I don't know.
I think he's just a Wiccan, and I think I'll stick with that.
Wiccan was a comic character though, a
Yeah, that's
Marvel
him.
comic character.
That's him. That's why
Oh,
that's the whole reason why I said that. There's witches and Wiccans. He's a
what?
Wiccan. He is the character Wiccan. Very comic accurate portrayal and costume design for him. So that was kind of cool. I don't know much about that character other than the fact that it's Wanda and Vision's kids that she just manifested. But so that's still pretty true to the comics. I don't think they had any body swapping weird stuff like that. But yeah, I wanted to like this a lot. And there are some bright spots. You have Lilia's performance, and I think that might be my favorite episode because it was just structured like it had me on maybe not the edge of my seat, but at the same time, it had me kind of hemming and hawing, like, huh, what's going on here? What does this all have to do with everything? Like, is Agatha behind all this, or is Billy behind all this, or is Rio behind everything? Who knows? Or maybe there's some other larger looming presence like Mephisto that's out there too. So it had me going all over the place and just kind of running wild with curiosity. So I will give the show that it had a very highly engaging episode for Lilia's character for sure.
Yeah. No, this show had a mountain of possibilities, and it did not really capitalize on any.
So we talked about some things that I feel like I've just been pissing on this show the entire time, so we might as well keep it up. But did anything Martha you for this TV show?
The whole ghost Agatha at the end Martha the
Mm,
shit out of me, because
really?
I know that apparently it was a thing in the comics. I did not know about it. Again, like anything post 2005 ish in comics, like not in my wheelhouse, right? I was in the classics, not even the classics, like the mid late 80s 90s comics were my wheelhouse, if you
Sure.
will. And then it screamed like funny modern Quantum Leap with the lamest character. Like, no Scott Bakula here, man.
Uh,
But I'm
yeah.
just like, are they doing a bit about it being Quantum Leap? Are they carrying over from episode one? Like, oh, it was SVU. Now it's Quantum Leap. Are they staying in this WandaVision, we're copying TV shows framework? Turns out they weren't trying to be ironical. It's actually a thing. Um, which again, yeah, Billy's Meg. Shut up, Billy.
Uh, so I think I've aired out my grievances for the most part, but just to reiterate on the Martha factor. So that song, Martha the fuck out of me. I
Oh,
was just uh, couldn't stand it. And I think even for that last episode where she proves or she goes through like the steps of her life as to, like, yeah, the witch's road is fake. It's all BS. Like her slaying a bunch of witches was cool, but I could have done with about 20 seconds less of that song because I didn't want to hear that song throughout the decades. This isn't a 3 a.m. infomercial. I don't need to hear that or see the different costumes for all that stuff. It was just too much. And the big thing, though, the fact that it took about 8 episodes for me to be interested in this was something that Marthaed me. Like, why did it have to take so long for me to get into this? TV shows should not be like that. You should be hooked within, if not the first episode, maybe the second. And watching those first 2 episodes, I was just like, it's a good thing I binged this and waited because I have no interest in continuing on from week to week if this was like, there's nothing pulling me back in, right? So that's me, man. That's me. So as we go into the next question that we always end our podcast with, Mark, I gotta ask you, when it comes to Agatha All Along, can you do this all day?
no, I'm not gonna lie about it. I think it's not bad. It's a fun thing to turn on around Halloween, kind of like those Bette Midler witch movies. Like it's good to have funny witch things
Take it back.
for
Take that
for
back.
specific situations, but it's not like I'm not like, oh man, I want to know what Billy Maximoff's doing next. Um, Billy Maximoff can be as canceled as the acolyte for all I care. Um, I'm really upset that that was canceled, by the way. Um, but
It
I
was an interesting show.
talk about the villain being way better than Billy Maximoff. So it's not my favorite. It's not the worst. It's not Thor the Dark World, but it's just not. Like, but Marvel TV hasn't been for a while. So we're getting by. We're getting by on an oversaturation of getting to the bad comics instead of the good ones. So um but my opinion isn't the only one that matters here. So, Dan, I got to ask you similar question, maybe phrased in a repeating iambic pentameter. So, as you've gone down the road of Agatha All Along, do you see yourself going down that road over and over again, like you could do it all day?
You can go fuck off with this show. I cannot do this all day. I wanted to love this show. I was just convinced at the core of my soul that Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza are gonna make this show awesome. It's just gonna be a one-two punch, episode after episode. Like it was gonna be awesome. But no, I still like the fact that Plaza was death, and if they can explore some Thanos or Deadpool death romances, that would be fantastic. I would love it. I don't know if that'll happen, but hey, a fan can hope and wish and dream.
They already did the Infinity Gauntlet without her. Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
how
they could still do it again. They could still do some other spin-off of it to where
they would fucking reboot
she's
the Infinity
involved.
Gauntlet, wouldn't they?
No, no, not redo it, but they could certainly do it for like a Secret War type of side plot, you know? Like I'd rather see that than some other side plot with like an Avenger that we don't care about goes off on a mission and it's just wasted. Bring back some Thanos or maybe even Deadpool and have some of those interactions. Even if it's just like an homage, I'll be down for that. That's cool. Like a little nod, little Easter egg. Deadpool pans over to the camera like she's pretty attractive. Like that would be fucking hilarious to me. That would be worth it. The Coven as a whole, uh, when you find out at the end that it's just pointless,
That
I
it's a
was
tool
almost
for murder.
yeah, I was just
Murder.
kind of really disappointed with that because like, oh, so Billy Maximoff is a killer. Okay. I did like that parallel to where it's like, oh,
No, he
kind of like
wasn't a
your
killer.
mom.
Agatha was using it to
No,
lure in.
he's the one who killed them.
Yeah, but Agatha killed a bunch of people using the song
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
for
But
millennia.
Billy Maximoff is responsible for the deaths of the coven that he
Yeah, the
walked with
two,
down the
three
road.
witches. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that parallel to where it's like, okay, cool. Well, Billy's not as good of a kid as everyone thinks, and hey, neither was his mom. So that I like that from a deeper perspective and knowing all of the additional movies and TV shows that I've watched, I was like, okay, yes, that at least there's some consistency, and you can kind of like, hey, it's just his mom's characteristics in him, but it's just too much, man. It is too much, and it's too little to capture my attention. So that is why I
Oh,
cannot do this all day.
little. I thought you said it was a good size.
That's just people being nice, Mark.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a better Marvel TV show next year.
There are some really good ones on Slate, so we'll see what
On
happens.
paper. On paper.
Although I am a little bit surprised that they're bringing Ironheart out. Like I thought that was scrapped. I
Oh
was
man.
hoping it was scrapped because
That's I mean, setting expectations early on that one.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They really have to plug in some big guns into that show to make
literally,
me want to watch it. Yeah. Like seriously, yeah.
literally big
Yeah.
guns,
Yeah.
large
Absolutely.
weapons.
Because I am not excited for that show. I am excited to potentially see, the Daredevil Born Again show. Um, I never finished the Netflix show, but I do like Charlie Cox and I like Vincent D'Onofrio as Fisk, but yeah, that's still a ways away. We still have to get through Craven the Hunter and any other piece of shit that we haven't watched
The
yet
new
from the
Venom,
Sony.
the
Yeah,
new
oh yeah,
Venom
we do have to
movie
watch
when that hits
eventually.
streaming
Yeah. So
eventually.
all you Venom fans, all three of you that are out there, don't worry. We'll probably watch Venom: The Last Dance.
I gotta
God.
watch the first two.
Oh, you still haven't finished the or watched the first two?
Yeah, I fell asleep watching the first one. I played. I never watched another one. Oh,
Oh man. Well, that wraps it up. Another it was another episode, guys. Another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast.
oh.
Until next time, I'm Dan the Part-Time Avenger. That's Mark the Resident Jedi.
Hey, don't forget, like, subscribe, hit up all of our socials. I Can Do This All Day podcast at everything, everywhere. Follow us, my friends. There'll be glory at the end.
We're still Marvel fans, but not today. Not today. We'll see you next time, everyone.